Hey guys, welcome to another review on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Easter Monday evening. Hope you're well, hope you've had a good day and you've enjoyed the day off work. Obviously tomorrow being, unfortunately, the day you have to go back. You have to go back at some point, so, that's where it is. Yes, I have shaved. It's not done a very good job, but I have shaved, so don't be alarmed that you don't see as much facial craziness here. You get to see a bit more of a youthful face. Someone that probably looks more like 28 than 48. Obviously, we're previewing the game tomorrow evening, the 8:15 kickoff with West Ham. Obviously, talking about that, some injury news. Got some really interesting injury news as well as a really interesting report coming out from Sport Winners surrounding Albert Gudmondsson. So, plenty to talk about, plenty to get into. Just want to say, though, if you are new, give us a subscribe. Very much welcome to join us for the journey. And let's talk West Ham. So, obviously, massive game, massive game. Obviously, they're going to want to come in here and win this game. Obviously, being at home, 8:15, under the lights, on TV, all those things that make for a brilliant London derby. With West Ham, obviously, the weekend didn't go... the weekend went to plan and then went quickly awry. It was a bonkers game, that Newcastle game. I was watching it and, for as soon as... I actually thought... when West Ham were 2-up, they were flying. They were great. They looked like they were going to score 4, 5, 6, 7 and not concede. As soon as that third one went in, they looked at their most vulnerable. I don't know. I mean, if you didn't watch the game, obviously you're not going to know. But if you did, you can see what I probably mean. The attack was fantastic for West Ham. When I was looking at the sort of team that they played, here we go. Right, they're Kudus, Paqueta and Bowen all feeding into Mikel Antonio, who actually looked quite good for West Ham. It was a weird one. They took off James Ward-Prowse. They took off Kufau as well. They brought in Calvin Phillips. And I'm not saying it was his fault. I mean, the second penalty, he can't see Gordon intentionally basically tripping Phillips. I didn't think that was a foul, to be honest, for me. Phillips is going to clear the ball. Gordon is nowhere near him. Somehow gets a foot in front, behind the ball. So he's not even trying to play the ball. He's just trying to get tripped. So I didn't like that. I don't like those sort of penalties. I just don't think they are. So, you can't call me one of those people that's like, it happens Spurs, happen this, that, the other. The issue is, if that is a penalty from now on, then, I'm going to be calling for them. But in my eyes, I don't think it should be a penalty. So I thought they were a little bit hard done by there. But look, they fell apart, to be honest, playing Newcastle. I think when the Newcastle fans all sort of getting a bit more on side, getting a bit more lively. They had a few injuries in that game. And I think Shah got injured. Gordon was limping around for a bit. Almiron came on and then got injured. Lascelles obviously ruptured his ACL. So they were falling apart and then somehow managed to galvanise the crowd, I think, through just a few little spots. And then before you know it, they come back to win that game. So bonkers. They're going to be wanting to get back onto winning ways. And obviously West Ham at home, good team as well. So this is not going to be easy, regardless of where they were in the league. It's a London derby. London derbies are never easy. A little bit of team news for West Ham. So Alfonso Areola actually got injured in that game at Newcastle. Fabianski had to come on for him. Moyes said he's not in for this game. So there's that. Naif Aguerd, I think, is back in training. He trained after injuring his shoulder. So probably on the bench, I would assume. I think Mavropanos and Zuma will start, but, he could be thrown in there. Edson Alvarez, the central midfielder, he does miss this game as well. I believe it's for the second of his... 10 bookings, his second game of that 2-game suspension, I believe. Don't quote me exactly. So, yeah, they're down... Well, they're down the starting midfielder and they're down the starting keeper. So they're a little bit weaker for that. Fabianski's a good, solid keeper as well. And look, they've got Souček and they'll probably play a similar team, but they've got Souček and Ward-Prowse in the midfield. So still a strong midfield. What I expect from them, I expect, Fabianski in goal. I'm kind of going off the last game. I think Emerson, Zuma, Mavropanos and Kufau will be at the back. I think you'll see Souček and Ward-Prowse in the midfield with Paqueta maybe sitting just sort of in front of them. Kudus and Bowen one side or the other, and Mikel Antonio sitting up top. I don't expect to see Calvin Phillips, that's for sure. Looking over to us, Andrew spoken. Andrew said we came through the Luton game unscathed, so I expect to kind of see a fairly similar team. Maybe Mickey comes back in for this game. Obviously, he was on the bench for the weekend. He didn't come on. We didn't need him, which is always nice. Gets a few extra days rest. That hamstring gets a few extra days to catch back up to speed. Potentially could be seeing him for this game ahead of, it's a pretty big game. They're sitting in 7th, West Ham, so They're no gimmies, but looks like we're as strong as we could probably be. So I expect our team to look as Vicario in goal, Destiny and Porro at fullbacks. I know, shock. I think Mickey and Romero will be your centre halves. I think the midfield three, that's where interesting options lay. I think it'll be Basuma. I think it'll be Sarr and Maddison. I don't think he'll change it. I know people are calling for Lo Celso. People have called for Bentancur. Bentancur still rocking a couple of injuries, so I wouldn't mind that option coming off the bench. And Lo Celso, I don't hate the idea of him starting, but Maddison in this sort of game, big games call for big game players, that sort of vibe. And then your front three, I think the front three will be Timo, I think it'll be Sonny, and I hope to see Johnson out on the right wing. I just think Kulusevski's form, he goes through good spells in the game and then he drops off a cliff and then it's a bit of a roller coaster. So I think an option off the bench might be quite nice, just that idea that you can cut in on the left, when sort of more tired legs are there against Emerson. But with Emerson, I just think you need a bit of pace against him with Johnson, so that's what I'm going to go for. Scoreline, I was umming and ahhing between a 2-2 and a 2-1 Spurs. I'm going to sit on the fence, but I think 2-1 Spurs. But I'm going to sit on the fence and say that's my backup. I used to watch like Flog It or something back on BBC Two. They put in the valuation. They put a little reserve in. I'm going 2-1 with my valuation. My reserve is my 2-all. So there's that. Looking really, just want to compare it to the last game. Obviously, we did lose the return fixture, or the previous fixture, sorry, at home. We lost 2-1. It was a game back in December where Spurs weren't that fit. With Davies at centre half. I actually took a note of who was playing really. We had Davies at centre half. We had a midfield three of Basuma, Højbjerg and Lo Celso. When we look onto the bench, you had players like Jamie Donnelly, Dorrington, Alejo Veliz. When we look at this time, we replaced those guys and you think, well, we've got Mickey van der Ven sitting on the bench from last weekend. You've got Richarlison, you've got Højbjerg sitting on that bench. Maddison's obviously back now. You've got Lo Celso sitting on the bench now. Sarr's back as well. Bentancur obviously on the bench. So much a stronger team. I think it'll be a much different game. So there's that. Talking though about this Albert Gudmondsson report, bit of a weird one. I didn't really expect it because I think a lot of people just having a day off. But basically, it was talking about, I haven't got it on here, apologies. But it was basically talking about how, Genoa, he's having a great season at Genoa. They're talking about the valuation of the player. And so basically they were saying that, Inter Milan, I was about to say AC Milan, Inter Milan are very interested in signing the player, but they can only go to a deal with a loan with an obligation to buy for 30 million. When we look at the idea with Spurs, obviously that's not really an issue with us. When you think about the situation that they have within the Serie A, there is a serious lack of money basically in the Serie A. With the Premier League, we are sitting in a position of complete and utter strength. But they talked about how Spurs were happy to reach a valuation of 40 million euros, which would be 30 million plus 10 million in add-ons. No, is the answer I'm going to give on this one. I'll put it up on the screen. You will see it, don't worry. But I'm just not... 40 million euros, right? We'll call it 35 million pounds. 35 million pounds. We can do so much better. We absolutely can do so much better with that wing position. I'd rather take some of that money and get Timo permanently and get the rest of that money with a little bit more and go and get Eze. That's the way I look at that deal. 35 to 40 million euros. Apparently Paratici is all over this deal. He's really interested in him. And look, I will say this, Paratici, when it comes to Serie A, has never let me down. Dragosian, you can't give him time, whether you like him or not. And if you don't like him, just door over there. You're giving him 3 minutes of game time, But, Vicario, Adogi, absolutely fantastic. Kulusevski has shown flashes of really great things. Bentancur is fantastic. This one, I just think that's too much money. That really is too much money. That money, I'd rather go and get Werner. Hell, even if you just go, look, it's 35 million pounds, I'd rather go and get Werner and a fullback. That's what I'd rather do with that kind of money. Is he better than Werner? Well, Werner's at least Prem proven. We know what we get with Werner compared to him. And by the way, I'm not saying I want Werner or not. I'm just saying if that was the idea that they want to go the Gudmundsson route, I'd rather just go for Werner. Because I don't see how Gudmundsson's twice the player of Werner with that sort of money when I can go get left back with that rest of that money, or I can go get another right back you know, if we would sell Emerson. So, bit of a weird one for me. No. I'd love to see what you guys think. But anyway, guys, at the end of the video, hope you enjoyed. Drop a like on the video if you did. Hit me in the comment section your thoughts and feelings about that Gudmondsson report. Apologies, I didn't have it to hand. That's my bad. Obviously, your thoughts and feelings ahead of the West Ham game and you know your score line, your goal scorers, all that jazz. I want to know if you're with me, maybe in that 2-1 realm, or you're with me in another realm of that 2-all. Obviously, subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, in the video, I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.